Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I will show you a quick lesson on how to paint a reflection in the water. Before starting, I wanted to mention that if you're learning watercolors or want to advance in your art, make sure you check out my channel, as you can find here over 100 watercolor tutorials and also links for some free sketches I shared to help you get started and stay inspired. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel, for I upload new tutorials at least twice a week, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. I started off with drawing my horizon line, and after that pre-wetting the lower part of the paper where the water is going to be. I will be using a mix of emerald green and turquoise, but you can really use any color you like here. And next thing I'm doing, while the lower part of my paper is still wet, I've just slightly tilted my paper. I took quite amount of the pigment in my brush and I'm adding it on the top of the line where the horizon line is, and I'm just stopping in and just adding it a little bit downwards where the reflection of the trees is going to be, and then after that I'm just slightly tapping the paper on the desk so I can just help it bleed a little more downwards. And after that I'm adding a little bit more of the pigment just in the upper part of the reflection where I want that reflection to be the darkest. I also do want some pigment and color in the lower part of the water to make it look like there is a still water, and I'm adding a little bit more of the pigment also there, and this time I made it quite light and I'm going into the reflection also and just leaving some parts white, but mostly I'm painting it very slight and light wash, and then afterwards I'm adding a little bit more pigment in the lowest part of the water. And also I do want to paint the sky, and in the same way I'm adding a light wash in our upper part. I did use a dagger brush to paint in the reflection, but you can really use any round brush for that. And when the paint completely dry, I'm using the same colors and adding a little bit of Prussian blue in them to paint in the pine trees. And I'm using for that a smaller round brush. And as you can see, I've painted the trunk tree and after that the branches, and I'm not really painting in any special and particular way, trying to paint every single branch or something like that. I'm just wiggling my brush right left, and just with the tip of the brush just pressing it a little bit harder and a little bit lighter to make the impression of the trees. And I'm not trying to paint them same on one side and the other side. On one side the branch is longer, on one side is shorter, and where there are also some branches that aren't even connected to the trunk tree. So we're just painting in the reflection and not really trying to paint it perfectly and trying to paint every single branch and every single trunk tree. And since we did paint our reflection first, when you're painting those pine trees, just look at your reflection. Where there is a longer reflection, you paint a taller tree. Where there is a smaller reflection, you paint the lower tree. I also decided to add a little bit more of the pigment to some parts of the tree, because you see, mostly in the middle part and downwards, because I do want that part to look as though it is in shadow, and I don't want my trees to look completely flat. I also do want to look that there is something going on behind our trees. There are some more trees and I don't really want to paint every single tree, so I'm adding a little bit more of the pigment to the lower part of the trees to make an impression that there is also some trees or something else behind them. Now we're gonna go back to our reflection, and again first I did pre-wet the paper, and right now I'm using a flat brush. I really wanted to show you that you can do this actually with any brush. You can use also a round brush. I'm using a flat brush because, you know, this one looks as though it is the easiest to make the straight line with it. And I'm adding a little bit more pigment to the reflection, and this time I'm just tapping in the straight line going downwards where the trees are, because I want that reflection to be now a little bit more darker, and also I do want it to make it appear that there is some trees, and some parts of the reflection will be lighter, some parts of the reflection will be darker. After that, I'm adding also some straight horizontal lines to the water. And just again, while the paint is still wet on the part where we added a little bit more pigment for the pine trees, I'm just also going in the straight horizontal lines, strokes, and just picking up a little bit of that paint, to make it look as there is a still water there and there is a reflection on the water. Next step I will be doing is the step you can actually skip. If you don't want to, you can just finish off with your painting there where we painted the reflection and added some lines, but I wanted my pine trees to look as though they are in the fog, slight fog. So I've just added a little bit more of the pigment in the upper part of the pine trees, and when the paint smudged, I picked it up slightly with a tissue paper. I'm now adding a little bit more of the pigment in the lower part of the pine trees, well, to make it appear as though there are more of them in the background. I will also add a little bit of the pigment in the upper part of the sky to make it a little bit darker. And with that, I'll be finishing off this painting, this short lesson. I hope you liked it, you learned something, you will try it. Well, I find this to be the easiest way to paint a reflection in the water. So if you did like this video, please hit the like button, comment, share it. And if you haven't still, please subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome and it would mean really a lot to me. So without further ado, guys, I hope you liked it and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!